So welcome back everybody. So in today's video we're going to be talking about getting the evidence. Now I do need to give a slight warning to this video. Those of you that are easily offended, it may be a good idea that you don't watch this. And I appreciate before this video goes out I could cause damage to the channel, but it's required. It's one of those things that needs to be covered. And so in this video, I will try to keep it short and I will try to cover the stones that I turn. But I'm sure more videos would have to come off the back of it. So I do need to apologise for my voice today. It sounds absolutely terrible. I think I'm coming down with a hay fever or a cold or something, which always happens when I overwork myself. So a little bit of a backstory to how this video idea came around. So I was running a Zoom class last night and I created an exercise for people to be able to hold a theme, you know, like their job or their passion or whatever it'll be, you know, just to hold a theme. Don't allow the spirit world to divert you. And the purpose of that is so you know when you need to explore evidence more, or when you're holding on to something that the client doesn't understand and the spirit world are trying to get you away. So that's the purpose of the exercise, you know. So by forcing the issue, you work out when I should move on and when I should stay on said subject. And the reason for this is because we've all been there, haven't we? We've all stuck in an area within a reading. And we should have moved on. We kind of got bogged down with the idea, or we thought we were doing the right thing by staying in that area, when we actually go for the verification or feedback with the client, they actually go, oh, I have no idea, or I don't know why you spent so long in that area. It's not something that's relevant to me and my memory of that loved one. So I asked the students to do this. I asked them when the spirit world come in. Let me just hold that a little bit better. So when the spirit world come in, once they start on a theme, you're not allowed to come off of that theme, and it will feel like your mind is bending. It feel like you want to move. You want to come away from said story. But my restriction to the class or the group was you're not allowed to come away. I want you to recognise when they're trying to pull you away and when you have to stay in a zone. So I put this instruction out and you could see immediately that people were uncomfortable with the idea. They were uncomfortable that I was restricting what the spirit world were coming to say. And I kind of get that. I kind of get the viewpoint there. However, we're in development and training, and the spirit world are obviously trying to help us out in certain aspects of our development to push us, to push the boundaries. And I could see immediately that there was some people that were very uncomfortable with it. So I said, right, what's the issue? What's the problem? And a number of the students were like, well, you know, I'm not happy with this restriction. It weren't those words. I would prefer to say what the spirit world wants me to say. To which I responded, so do I. I don't know. I haven't encountered or been around a medium in my entire career or in my entire experience around mediumship. I'm yet to find a medium that says exactly what the spirit world want to say. And that kind of rippled through the class with like a misunderstanding, or did he actually just say that? And yes, I did say it, you know. I've worked with the best. I've worked in their classroom, under their tuition, gone to watch them demonstrate, all that kind of stuff. And I'm yet to see a medium that actually expresses what the spirit world wants to say. So the purpose of exercises is that we can open our mind to access said evidence and try our very best to say exactly what it is that the spirit world want to say. The problem is we are filtered by our own mind, which leads me into how to get the evidence, like real evidence, not generic stuff, not they love ya, you know, your baking granny. I mean real nitty gritty pieces of evidence, and that can be of a spiritual nature. But certainly with all my loved ones in the spirit world, they had bad sides to them. I mean, everyone has bad sides to them. They have bad days, and we tend to remember people for the things that they did wrong, not for the things that they did so well. We take that bit for granted, don't we? And so this is where the debate, I suppose, come into play. Like, I want to be able to deliver exactly what the spirit world want to do, but we are governed, we are restricted, we are conditioned by our own mind, by our own upbringing, by everything that surrounds you in your everyday. You are conditioned by. And to be able to go into the spirit world without that conditioning, without judgment, without your views on said subjects, this is a very, very difficult process to go through. That's why we create classes or lessons or exercises to be able to help shut those filters down. Let me give you a real simple example with this. Let's say you're someone that doesn't tolerate rudeness. You know, maybe someone doesn't hold open a door, or they don't say please or thank you, or something like that, you know, something very simple. Then that is your being, that's who you are, that's what will go into your mediumship, because that's your conscious mind. For some reason it just irritates you, for some reason it bothers you, and when it bothers you, your back goes up a little bit, or you become reactive, or you're going to say something, you know, something along those lines. Things like that become irritable. They sort of just bother you in some way, and so that will go into your mediumship. So what we have to do is we have to sort of develop a filter, we have to develop an exercise, something that will help you out to get you through this conditioning of your own mind. So if you have someone that turns up as a communicator for their loved one, your client, and they appear to be very rude, because that's who they were, it's their evidence, it's their character, it's their uniqueness, and they were very rude, then that is a communication you are going to have difficulty with because of your own conditioning. So again, let me give you a quite a tame example. You know, let's say you're fortunate enough where you've grown up, and you've had a very supportive mum. You know, she's a wonderful mum, and you know, she would make sure you got home, and she always did your clothes and your food, and you know, you never went wanting for anything. She done everything she could, and she did it with like an educational value. She was a textbook mum. You know, that's wonderful for the people out there that have had that. And then let's say you embark on a spiritual journey, and you wanna do mediumship, and you wanna bring through communicators, and sitting opposite you is a lady that was beaten by her mum. Let's say that the woman was cruel and she was jealous of her, and you know, and she would beat her and lock her away and make life extremely hard up until an age where she got strong enough or had the courage or the bravery to stand up to mum and the way that she was being treated. That communication for you is going to be very, very difficult to understand, to express, to even have a reference base within your mind, because the conditioning you had was one of a loving home, a loving parent, a loving mother, so on and so forth. So when we express, like, I just want to say what the spirit world want to say, I want to do it exactly the way they want me to do it. They want you to do it that way, of course they do. But we need to train, we need to open up our mind to the idea that there are people out there that would treat their children that way. There are people out there that have had that relationship, like for real had that relationship. And not every reading's you're gonna sit down and it's gonna be in love and light and all spiritual and all things unicorns and rainbows. That's not mediumship. That's generic spiritual jargon, really. So the point of exercise is that, and to be able to grasp the evidence, requires restrictions sometimes. It requires you to go look and go deeper into a said story. And some people, maybe they want to hear from mum who had this relationship, the bad version of that relationship, and they want to be recounting the moments. They want to know that mum knows that she got it wrong and that she did do wrong and she messed it up completely. Not to offer an apology, that's another video, but not to offer an apology, but because that's the evidence, that's what it is. And if your mind is conditioned or restricted in a way where you're not looking for that, or you're not aware that that part of the story was there, then you can't say what the spirit world want you to say. You're not able to say what the spirit world want you to say. This is why I think mediumship is in trouble, because we're teaching a formatted way of working. Get the sex, get the relationship, get the passing, get a hobby or a passion, get the relationship, whatever it is, 5-6 things. And you can talk for 7 to 10 minutes on this said subject. And so the story of the communicator doesn't come through. It's almost like a conveyor belt of information. It lacks an essence. It's not there. Which is fine if that's the route you want to go down, but I'm certain from the conversations I was having last night, I'm certain that everyone wants to be able to say what the spirit world want them to say. I'm certain of it. And so because of that, we need to really, really dial in how to get that evidential statement, that thing that is the one thing that the client wants to hear about. You're not achieving that. No one's achieving that on a regular basis because the training aspect that we are doing is not catering for that kind of evidence. So we need to develop mechanics, lessons, ideas. We need to spark the imagination. We need to open that mind up to allow the spirit world to impress that idea that they want to talk about, what they want to go on about. Now, it's very, very simple for someone that's had a terrible relationship with their mother to have that communication. They'll be like, oh God, this feels familiar. I know exactly what this is. I know what that's about, because their consciousness holds it. But if you are one of the lucky ones that you have a loving family and they're there to support you, then that's going to be a much more difficult one to deliver. Let's change gear a little bit. Let's make it really bad. Like imagine that there is someone, and you can fill in the blank, like murders or rapes or full-on sexual, physical abuse. This is going to be hard for your mind to be there. This is going to be a difficult sitting. This is going to be hard for your consciousness to hold that kind of information. Now, if you've done the development and you've had lots and lots of experience, you'll eventually be able to dial this in. But what we need to understand is that, is the client okay with just touching upon it, or do we need to delve into that subject a little bit more? And that is the point of the exercise that I'm talking about. We need to know when the spirit world are trying to pull us away, and we need to know when we need to stay on point, because this is where the healing is going to be taking place. This is where the betterment from this day onwards is going to be achieved. However, if we're missing this pulling away or stay on point, you're going to miss the point of the communication. And yeah, you might be good at doing generics, and yeah, it might have been a lovey, lighty kind of reading, but does it actually hold the full value of what the client was looking for? So to be able to get more evidence, we have to understand self. This is a journey of self-exploration. We need to find the things that put our back up, the people we don't like, the things that irritate us on many, many levels, whether it be rudeness or people that do horrible things to people. We need to understand that. So when someone from the spirit world arrives and they have one of these things about them in their evidence, we don't miss it through our judgmental viewpoints. We don't miss it because we don't like that person. The person opposite you, their loved one, are there to hear about them. They are there to have that moment, and they're entitled to that moment also. So basically what we've got to do is we've got to find how to hold the energy in the right place. We've all heard the stories of, I don't know why the medium stayed there for so long. Why would they keep talking about that? Why would the spirit world stay there and take that? Because that upsets me, and now I feel worse than before I went in, and so on and so forth. These stories and episodes are endless. You will have your own versions, but just for the purpose of this, I'm just explaining it that way. So we need to sort of, to be able to know that sign, that calling card of when we should be in an area. We should be staying in that area. We should look a little bit more at that evidence. We need to practice in the way that I get people to practice. Like restrict it. Find what it feels like. How does it feel? And that I didn't like that, and I liked how it led me there, but I could feel them pulling that way and pulling that way, and so on and so forth. The spirit world know you're in development. The spirit world know that you're trying to become better. So of course they're going to help. Of course they're going to try and get you to say exactly what they want you to say. The resistance there for you to not do it has to be on a self level, because you're in development and we're trying to better, deepen, further your evidence. Of course there will be people that are going to disagree. I completely understand. And I completely understand that you still want to do it. I will do it my way. I will do it the way the spirit world are telling me to do it. That's fine, but I almost guarantee that you're not delivering the full package or the essence of the communication that you're meant to. But that's open for debate. As I said, I'm yet to meet anyone that says it exactly as the spirit world want it said, and I include myself in that. I know where I need to improve, and I constantly look for exercises for myself to better my evidence and deepen my communication. But it is what it is. I know before this video is even edited or going out there, it's going to cause a problem. I know that. So it's one of those, isn't it? I think whatever makes you uncomfortable in your development, whatever pushes you, whatever makes you question and recheck your philosophy and double checking that you're with the communicator and your link with the spirit world and all of these things, I think these are good for your development. I think it's about making you be uncomfortable and making it very, very difficult, so when the time comes you have the tools in the box to get you out of said scenario, whatever that is. The spirit world is not all love and light. People there have done some terrible things. People there, people's loved ones are not spiritual gurus or placed upon a pedestal. There are ones like that, but not every single communication is like that. And I want you to be able to tell the story to the best capability that you're able to be able to deliver that. And to do that means uncomfortable exercises. It means checking your philosophy on a regular basis. It means staying in development, whether that be your spirit team or with other tutors maybe showing you a doorway. So things like small restrictions in your class, in your circle, in whatever, however you're developing. Small restrictions will help you no end, So maybe if you're someone that always does nans and granddads, then maybe say today, spirit world, don't bring me a nan and a granddad. As much as they want to speak, I appreciate that. I need to be working with someone else. I need to broaden my consciousness. I need to open up my mind. And of course the spirit world will deliver. The message is the message from the spirit world. They will help. Every single one of the loved ones are there in the room at that simultaneous moment. So why wouldn't they? We feel like we're getting in the way. And we are getting in the way. Our mind gets in the way. But that's unfortunate. That's a requirement for mediumship. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I'm sure there's lots of videos that can come off of the back of it. I'll see you early next week, hopefully, if this cold doesn't sort of come through. I have a very busy weekend and a special in Cambridgeshire tonight. So I've just got to make sure that I rest, and hopefully I can get another one out for Monday. If not, it'll be the early part of the week. So enjoy your weekend, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you all next time.